Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Krishnamurthy, for that wonderful session. We have gone through a small meditative session, and that made us quite refreshed with mind and spirit. Good afternoon and warm welcome to you all to this last session of this webinar series on yoga for health and well-being that has been organized by the Center for Consciousness Studies at NIMHANS. I will be talking on meditation and well-being. Most of our speakers have already given you a very good understanding on the yoga and well-being. So mine will be just a concluding talk altogether. So well-being. Well-being is an umbrella term, and we can discuss well-being from different perspectives. So, in this regard, this is about subjective well-being. I'm going to talk, and subjective well-being is the state of feeling good or the state of feeling happy and judging life positively. So you develop a positive attitude to life, and that is very important for proper social interaction and personal relations. And also, this individual well-being or wellness is a prerequisite for social well-being. And previously, Dr. Nagaratna Madam has already talked to you that well-being is an inbuilt system. It is an inherent system in us, and that help us to have high motivational and reward-seeking behaviors. So, in general, wellness or well-being is an important aspect of our life, both for individual wellness as well as for the sustainability of the society. And many communities, they nurture well-being by different means. For example, I'm just happy to introduce this tribe, the Senoi tribe from the Malaysian peninsula. And these are the tribes, one of the happiest and the non-violent people on this planet with near perfect mental health. So, how do they gain this? How did they achieve this near perfect mental health? It is so interesting to know that the Senoi mothers they encourage their children to dream during night during sleep, and also they encourage them to have a interpretation of the dream, the content of the dream in the next day. And this practice of analyzing the dream have helped them to overcome the fears, and also this and also to help them to ensure well-being and spiritual vitality of their population. So you see that the power of dreaming and the individual wellness can be effectively translated to social well-being. So I just want to bring here that it is our endeavor to see that the individual well-being as well as societal well-being, especially in the present time of COVID. We are going through a bad phase of our life, and but still we should have the ability to sustain this and with a high positive attitude. And why we will be able to do that? Because we human beings are endowed with many inner virtues or inner qualities, and manifestation of these virtues make him an integral human being or an excellent human being from an ordinary human being. So, what does this tell? So this tells us that we have all capabilities. Our human brain is highly evolved, and it has got a complex mechanism to generate complex social behaviors, highly evolved mechanism actually, and also to generate higher behavioral attributes like compassion, generosity, altruism, ethics, and morality, etc. So you see that we are able to manifest. If we are able to manifest these virtues, we become an integral human being out of an ordinary human being. And so, what are the ways by which we are able to manifest these virtues? Especially, your life itself will definitely help you to manifest. But there are various intervention you can have, like education or psychological, positive psychology, mindfulness training, or yoga meditation practices. These are all ensure these are the techniques that ensure to manifest all these virtues. And coming to the present topic, meditation and well-being. So meditation or yogic techniques have been devised in ancient India as one of the best tool, ideal tool to achieve body-mind harmony. And definitely that help us to manifest all our capabilities in all dimensions, like the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual dimensions of our life. That is how we achieve excellence, human excellence. Thus, you see that yoga in turn is an ardent life. I mean, an ardent lifestyle towards perfection. Actually, you can see that through this. This is an intense training program, and this helps us to transform ourselves from self-centeredness to selflessness. So all these also highlight that we have all these inner virtues, and we have to manifest these virtues to experience a better life. And most of the studies that have been carried out in the past 60 years or more than that have shown that meditation practices helps to promote relaxation, enhance positive effect, regulate negative effect, and it brings better coping and satisfaction in life, modulate autonomic functions and stress regulation, and also enhance various aspects of cognitive function like enhance attention, cognition, emotion regulation, and self-regulation. All these in turn help to establish enhanced well-being and satisfaction in life. So I will be just giving you a few examples that have been carried out in just to assess well-being, and also I will discuss various aspects of wellness and how we are able to achieve this by modifying the brain, through meditation practice. So this is one study. They have used breath-based meditation, a mechanism to restore the physiological and cognitive reserve for optimal human performance. This is very interesting that the study, the yogic breathing meditation, mainly they have studied the Sudarsana Kriya Yoga as well as Kapalbhati, and they have looked at various the physiological as well as psychological efficacy of these breathing practices and how that modulate metabolism and various other physiological functions, and thus how it brings it enhances it optimizes human performances, like how it enhances cognition, enhance the physical performance, reduce stress, depression, anxiety disorders, and all, and thus how it helps in establishing well-being. So you see that yoga is a science, and it utilizes various physiological functions. It modulates physiological functions to bring wellness. And yeah, this is one example just to show that how yoga practices modulate all our functions, and finally, ultimately, how it bring these results. Like you can see that ultimately, yoga and meditation increases parasympathetic activity or modulate autonomic function, and that helps in getting or sustained heightened relaxation. So this is achieved through modulating the metabolic state to a hypometabolic state with reduced heart rate, respiratory rate, blood pressure, and a reduction of stress and anxiety by manipulating these mechanisms, HPA axis, and they enhance cognition and emotion regulation. It influences the brain functions, and that in turn you experience a feeling of peace and contentment and enhance coping skills. So this is how meditation or yoga training help us to achieve well-being. How it modulates all these brain functions or physiological functions to establish well-being. This is in the time of now. This is very relevant in the present time pandemic. That even the healthcare workers, healthcare professionals also, they have to require appropriate training in yoga meditation to reduce the burnout syndrome and improve health and well-being. So this is a study just to show that some carried out on healthcare professionals, including physicians, nurses, psychologists and social workers, and they have provided this course. They have undergone a course for 8 weeks, a mindfulness-based stress reduction program for 8 weeks, and also a 7-hour retreat. And it has been shown that this is very effective in bringing down all the burnout syndrome as well as improving the well-being among healthcare professionals. And this is also another important study on effect of mind subtraction meditation intervention on smartphone addiction and the psychological well-being among adolescents. You see that cell phone addiction has become is a big social and psychological problem, and people who are addicted are people with low self-esteem and poor social relation. Depressive, they show depressive disorders, having other disorders like obsessive compulsive disorder and interpersonal sensitivity. So you see that they are already having their own problems, and they take solace in this kind of smartphone addiction. And so it is so important to realize the, you know, some of the prevention programs for the youth individuals. And this particular meditation program, mind subtraction meditation program, it's a kind of absorption meditation. It's a kind of, it enhances concentration. And the study discuss about how their well-being has been improved by this meditation session. And this study has been conducted in Korea among the school students. And I'm sure that this kind of programs should be, we have to popularize such programs, prevention programs to bring back young individuals from all this addiction, especially smartphone addiction. This is also another interesting study on mindfulness on the go, effects of mindfulness meditation app on work stress and well-being. This is also very relevant to the society, present-day society, that we have all this information technology. We have to make use of the information technology, and this is an app-based mindfulness training program, and for almost 8 weeks carried out on almost 238 healthy employees from different companies of UK. And it has been reported that this kind of app-based mindfulness training are so effective in reducing the work stress, anxiety, and depressive symptoms, and improve well-being, and also improve the interpersonal relations. This has been already discussed at length by the other speakers in the previous talks, as well as by Dr. Krishnamurthy. So you see that the effect of these meditation training programs, how you can bring back a very healthy and healthy society. And also, this is a survey report on mental well-being with the practice of yoga and meditation during COVID-19 pandemic. So in this survey report, what they have used, they have divided the participant into 4 categories. One, those who regularly practice yoga and meditation, and another group only meditation, and the other third group only yoga, and the fourth group with no meditation session. And they have seen that almost 66 percentage of the people who practice yoga and meditation have shown higher level of mental well-being even during pandemic. So you see that how important for us to change, to undergo these lifestyle changes to establish well-being and satisfaction in life. So I have just brought you, I have given you some experimental evidences regarding the short-term effect of meditation. So that means you have been practicing meditation just for a few months, maybe 3 months, but still it is able to bring quite a lot of improvement in your mental stress. Like it helps to promote relaxation, positive effect, and reduce anxiety, stress, improve attention, cognition, and overall well-being. And there are studies have also shown that these behavioral changes have been accompanied by the underlying physiological function like through autonomic modulation, hormone regulation, immune function, and stress regulation. So you see that these are the just a temporary effect. It is only a short-term effect of meditation. And this is what we discuss about how meditation brings a kind of or enhances subjective well-being. But think about people who have been practicing throughout their life. There are people who have been practicing meditation for more than 15 to 30 years of their life. So what happened to such people? What is the effect of a long-term meditation? This is very interesting to see that. What is the effect of a long-term meditation? So long-term meditation practice bring a totally, like it just it helps to reorganize the brain connections, and also it helps in efficient network processing. So when there is efficient network, enhanced network processing and efficient information processing, what happens? Your brain becomes more highly resilient. When your brain is highly resilient, it enhances your attention, cognition, it brings a proper sleep organization, it is able to regulate your emotions, self-regulation, and so on. So you can see that this transformation, you are slowly transforming from a self-centered individual to a selfless individual. And you see that what are the behavioral outcomes of this long-term practice. The change, there is a total change in the perspective on the self, and this is what we qualify as like you are able to express various higher mental attributes, like you become very compassionate, you show great generosity, empathy, truthfulness, renunciation, loving kindness, wisdom. So you see, these are all the altruistic traits. So you see, this is what we say, that this is like you are transforming. That is the manifestation of these virtues help you to transform from an ordinary individual to an integral human being or an excellent human being. So this is what we say, that when we say that excellent human being, this is what we meant. That so here I just wanted to bring that. So your brain, it is the matter is changing. Like you can see that there is enhanced reorganization of the circuit, and also the property of the entire neural substrate and their functions are changing. So and you are becoming a totally a different individual with a totally different outlook in life. That's the problem with that. Yeah, it changed. So now, okay, so we have already seen that. So there is the long-term meditation practice for more than 15 years. That is for more than 15,000 hours of meditation. Bring a total, a total change in the perspective of your mind and brain functions. So these are the examples. So how do we know that? So this is one example. They have demonstrated this, the structural plasticity brought by meditation technique. For example, the meditation experience is associated with increased cortical fitness. And it is not that meditation practices indiscriminately enhances the cortical fitness. Meditation practices enhance the cortical fitness of areas that are important for for mediating executive functions like attention, memory, decision making, and so on. Anterior insula. So there are areas associated with interoception, that is a subjective, body awareness, that helps in body awareness, emotional awareness, performance monitoring, conflict resolution, and also emotion regulation. So you see that these are the areas associated with the higher mental functions, and all these are undergoing even a structural change associated with long-term meditation practice. This study has been conducted on long-term meditators of mindfulness meditation and loving kindness meditation, and the long-term practitioners have got more than 16 years of meditation practice. So you see that you need to have very proficient meditation practice to get or to bring to see these kind of changes on the structure of the brain itself. And also, what about the functional attributes of brain then? So structurally, you have seen that the long-term meditation brings a lot of neuroplastic changes, and functionally also. Now the brain quality itself is totally different. So it produces a different type of you can expect a different functions altogether. For example, in this study, Satya Yoga meditation practices. they have observed this kind of changes, especially intense connectivity. The whole brain is integrated among the long-term meditation, more than 16 years of Sadhya Yoga meditation practice. And they have observed enhanced brain coherence. Coherence means sameness of activity throughout the area, and elevated brain connectivity in areas of attention, cognition, emotion regulation, social cognition. Once again, you see that those areas which are very important for higher cognitive functions, you can see that is elevated brain connectivity. And also with elevated brain connectivity, the functional attributes also you can see that you can study something like FM theta. So you see that higher, very proficient meditators, we can study the genesis of or theta synchronization, especially in the frontal and midline theta. So that means in the frontal and midline theta, these are the sources of this theta activity. And this theta activity is associated with the intense meditation practice, and that lead to enhanced internalized attention as well as this experience. So you see that, so for experiencing this kind of ecstatic experience or positive emotional experience, you need to have the concomitant changes that is occurring in your brain also. So this is another example to show that brain undergoes both structural plasticity as well as functional plasticity, and to evolve and to generate various higher attributes, like generating a from theta to mediate different functions like blissful experience and positive emotional experience. This is one study I thought I will share with you. This is the study carried out in our department, and what we have seen is like this is carried out on Vipassana meditators. Vipassana meditation, especially in the Indian context, we follow the training of the teaching of S.N. Vayagaji, and the Vipassana meditation involves these techniques. Like the meditation begins with a focused attention on the breath, anapanasati, continued with Vipassana meditation as such, that is awareness of sensations and feelings that is arising and going from the body as well as the mind, and the meditation ends with the metta bhavana, and that is you are able to radiate goodwill to yourself as well as to others. So you see that these are all different meditation techniques, especially anapanasati and vipassana is associated with intense cognitively intense meditative state, and that enhance awareness, attention, concentration, and reduces mind wandering, and also enhances mental equanimity and emotion regulation. So these are cognitively intense state of meditation, whereas this is an emotionally intense state of meditation. Like this meditation, Metta Bhavana, enhances selflessness, a sense of calm, well-being, and reduce negativity. So you see that you are experiencing all these either highly intense cognitive state or highly intense emotional state. And what we have observed is these are all associated with a concomitant change in the um, brain activity. So we have just recorded the brain activity, and these are the desynchronized brain waves, EEG waves, observed from a novice meditator. These are the new entrance meditators. Whereas senior and teacher meditators, they have got more than 10,000 hours of meditation experience. And you see the differences. You can see enhanced brain oscillations, highly oscillating EEG oscillation, you can see across the brain regions. So these are examples of brain is highly integrated, and when brain is highly integrated, it is just you are in an ecstatic state of or blissful state of happiness. So and what are the other changes what we have observed? Especially teachers and seniors, they have shown some trait effect of meditation. That is a permanent change in the EEG activity, and this permanent change is nothing but enhanced theta alpha. Theta alpha activity is are associated with sustained attention and awareness, positive emotion, feeling of happiness and bliss, and enhance the self-regulation. So you see that as you advance in meditation, you can see the concomitant changes that is happening both in the functional as well as structural aspect of brain, and that helps in the mediation of these higher attributes, higher mental attributes. In addition, we have also observed some state effect. State effect is the state effect during meditation practice. So you can see that during meditation practice, one is entering into a different state of consciousness altogether. You can see that they, especially the seniors have teachers and seniors have shown enhanced alpha. Enhanced alpha is very important because they provide a kind of cortical gating mechanism. That is, they allow the internalized attention associated with the meditation and block all the irrelevant information, all irrelevant sensory processing by the brain. And also, this we have observed during Anapana and Vipassana, and you know that these are cognitively intense meditative states, and definitely it enhances the internalized attention. Whereas you can see that during metta is associated with metta bhavana is associated with a totally different behavioral state. Metta bhavana is associated with intense emotional enhancement, and that is associated with that is accompanied by enhanced theta activity. And theta activity, especially 6 to 8 hertz, is associated with enhancement of purposeful attention engagement, mental patience, and emotion regulation. So you spend these, especially theta. Theta is we can say that theta is an index of intense meditation practice. This is also a study from our own department, and this is the study we have carried out on Raja Yoga meditation practitioners. And we wanted to see that whether these practitioners can rapidly and voluntarily shift the state from a resting state to meditative state. And we have observed that long-term meditators could robustly shift their state with enhanced theta power during 1 minute meditation. So, easily shifting state from a rest to meditation state, and you are going to be in that state only for a 1 minute duration. Whereas short-term meditators couldn't have this easiness of robustly shifting the state, and the controls did not shift states. So again, we have seen that shifting state or meditative state is associated with enhanced theta power, and definitely theta is associated with the mental presence, emotion regulation, purposeful attention, engagement, and so on. We have also observed a correlation between meditation proficiency and progress in well-being. So you see that it is not just when you do meditation and it is that long hours of long years of duration or meditation that matters. It is not. It is a proficiency. How seriously you are to take up the meditation practice, and is that meditation practice helps to achieve various psychological and spiritual development. You have to look at that. And so it is the proficiency that matters. And we have assessed the proficiency, from these Brahma Kumaris. Raja Yoga meditation, we have looked at the proficiency in spiritual study, meditation experience, spiritual lifestyle for development of virtues and service orientation. So these are the questionnaires we have obtained from the headquarters of Raja Yoga meditation, that is the sparkling of Mount Abu. Mount Abu, and we have observed a nice, a very straight correlation, a direct correlation between progress and well-being with that of the proficiency of meditation. So those who are more proficient are able to, have high aspects of mental wellness. And this part, I think, already Dr. Shamurthy has already explained. We have got some collaborative. We have initiated some collaborative studies with the heartfulness meditation, and this is one pilot study we have carried out, and we have again observed an association of enhanced well-being with very proficient meditators, and not with novice meditators. And also, so this is also another study, very important study. Like you can see that regulation of neural circuitry of emotion by compassion meditation. So these are all different variants of mindfulness meditation and effect of meditative expertise. Here also, the long-term meditators having more than 15,000 hours of meditation have shown some changes, especially the enhanced activity of anterior insula. We have seen that in the normal cases, anterior insula is associated with various mediating higher cognitive functions like interoception, conflict monitoring, performance monitoring, and so on. But when you are practicing now meditation for a long years, and due to these efficient network processing and efficient neuroplastic changes, it undergoes lot of changes, and even the property of the network itself undergoes changes. And you can see that the enhanced activity is associated with cultivation of positive emotion, empathy, compassion, and so on. And also, along with that, there is a reduction of amygdala activity. So amygdala is associated with amygdala is also very important for emotion regulation, and enhanced amygdala activity is seen associated with enhanced stress, fear, depression, and so on. So in meditation practice, you can see that there is a proper emotion regulation with reduced amygdala activity and with enhancement of areas that is associated with compassion and generosity, altruism, and so on. This is the last part of the my talk. I just wanted to bring that to see when we talk about wellness, it is not only your cognition or your mental tranquility that matters. Sleep also plays a major role. It is very important for maintaining health and well-being. And we have observed that, especially among the Vipassana meditation practitioners, we have observed that meditation practices bring a proper sleep organization and with enhanced deep sleep state, with enhanced REM sleep state. And also, this is also accompanied by enhancement of various other hormones like serum melatonin and DHEA. We can see that almost more than three times more enhanced levels of melatonin can be seen among the meditation practitioners when compared to the control group. Similarly, even the DHEA levels were also enhanced. And what is the importance of this? You can see that um, these hormones, especially melatonin and DHE, are very important for sleep, for maintaining a proper sleep organization. But apart from that, these are also a group of these belong to the group of feel good hormones. Feel good hormones like dopamine, serotonin, orexin, endorphins. All these are very important, and they have got various psychophysiological and cognitive functions. Like it reduces anxiety. It is very important to improve coping skills, enhance positive mood, enhance overall quality of life. So you see that with adequate interventions like meditation practices, meditation bring various or mediate various physiological functions, and that helps establishing a proper well-being. This is also a continuation of our own study. Vipassana meditation practice enhance parasympathetic activity during sleep.
Who is that
So
first
you can
person?
see that during sleep there is a modulation of parasympathetic activity. But in the case of meditation practice, what we see is this enhanced parasympathetic activity is seen throughout sleep state, like
Looks
throughout the
very
deep sleep state as well
craving.
as REM sleep state.
Bit
And
crave.
this kind of enhanced parasympathetic activity is very important to bring a proper sympathological balance during sleep. And that is also very important to have a proper sleep organization. And also to prevent any other untoward cardiac event. So now, in a nutshell, what I have talked about, long-term meditation practices totally changes the brain organization, brain network efficiency, and also the property of the entire brain substrates. So suppose, so if, now, so you can see that the transformation, when we say that yoga helps in the transformation from self-centeredness to selflessness, these are the changes occurring in the brain, and it is these changes help us to, express various higher attributes like meditation enhances attention control, emotion regulation, and total self-regulation by systematically, changing the properties and the network efficiencies of the brain structures. So this is what I wanted to convey that, like when we say that we human beings are endowed with many inner virtues or inner qualities, and it is how meditation helps to manifest these virtues. It is by by changing, by bringing all the changes in its property, in its efficiency, and that is able to mediate these mainly these behavioral attributes like compassion, generosity, altruism traits, and so on. So you see that it is not that we are born with an ordinary brain, and this ordinary brain, through proper interventions like meditation practices, we are able to modulate the brain functions and thus achieve various higher cognitive abilities, higher mental attributes, and that helps us to expand our consciousness. Thank you so much for your attention. And I take the opportunity to thank all the speakers for providing us this enriched learning experience during these 3 days. And I also take the opportunity to thank all the participants for their active participation. And it is this participation that give us a lot of happiness, that it encourages us to get, to organize more and more this kind of programs. Thank you so much. And I take the opportunity to thank all my team, my research team, for organizing the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any questions? If any of you have any questions, you can just directly unmute and ask, please.
Yeah, there is one from John Verghese. Are they able to prolong the theta state after their meditation hours? It's a very good question. You can see that during
No, but how do
meditation,
you get to
definitely there
those
are like
after
you can
the
see the
session is over? There is
enhancement of
nothing
theta
else.
activity. But long-term meditators were able to achieve this trait effect. You can even see the same thing, a permanent change, like enhancement of theta during not only during meditation, but also during rest period, during cognitive performance. So this can be a permanent change also. It's not just only we see during the. So that is why I said that both trait effect as well as state effect. Some are state effects, some are trait effect. But theta activity we have seen as a trait effect, because theta alpha, around like that range of brain activity we have observed. So it is possible. I'm not able to see your.
Hello, excuse me, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, how can we differentiate cognition and consciousness?
Oh yeah, consciousness is
Cognition
in
and
its
conscious.
purest form. We can say that it is your subjective experience, and to when we say cognition, all aspects of cognitive cognition is involved. See, for example, when we say cognition, it is a unified thought. For example, attention, concentration, your subjective experience, everything is mixed during daytime. You can see that you will not be able to distinguish cognition from that of consciousness, but these are two different aspects.
Ma'am, there is one more question in the chat box, if you're able to see.
And that cognitive change, how much? Yeah, see, we cannot say that there is something called the minimum duration of meditation. We say that it is, the proficiency of meditation. Suppose if you are meditating very proficiently, you will be able to achieve or the psychological or spiritual aspects very easily or very fast. Whereas the people who are just meditating, and not with that
You are bargaining, ma'am. That's so
with that interest, for example, like they may not be able to achieve that much of proficiency. And also it depends. See, I have told you that's why I have divided my talk into just to show that short duration meditation for a short while, it reduces all your anxiety and stress and any other depressive traits. and also it enhances at the same time some positive effect. You are very happy. So you can see that that is a happiness feeling, being in a state of happy state. Okay. But then when you start your journey further in the meditation, path, you can see that you are experiencing various aspects of various higher. You are expanding your consciousness. We can say that. Okay, then only you will be able to what you say that is achieve this or higher mental attitudes. Yeah, there is one more question, madam. Please explain what is gamma state. It is not a state. Gamma, when you record the EEG, now you can dissociate this EEG into different wave patterns. So one of the wave pattern is gamma activity, gamma oscillations. These gamma oscillations are of many different types.